Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting will be conducted in Creole, and it will be chaired by me, Yvonne Aki-Sawyerr of Freetonians. I would like to let me start with a word of prayer, so if all man can just pray silently by their hearts. Amen. Amen. I want to start off by saying thank you to all the media houses and also various stakeholders in the political landscape, particularly CSOs as well as corporate representatives, with SF come this press conference. The reason for this press conference now because as an elected official of the city, it's really important for let Freetonians then know of any major developments in the city. Over the course of the last several months, FCC done day in the news for perhaps, obviously, some of the right reasons, because every day we celebrate something. Whether we launch the fecal sludge treatment plant, or like in the last couple of days, we have been in Hastings, the police training center, where we get the pleasure and the privilege for recruits 50 more Met Police for the first time in 11 years for strengthening enforcement capability. We also continue to play a role in the face of all the disasters that already meet the city. With the Leone School Cluster Mentoring Program, we continue for engaging with communities on a range of issues and activities. But at the same time, in the midst of the achievements, we also face challenges. And this press conference, I call on because some challenges are more visible than others. And when it comes to sanitation, Freetonians, when I will agree with me, say the look of the city don't regress. We will reach a point in which sanitation objective because, as we know, transform Freetown with the 4 clusters, 11 priority sectors, and 19 targets. One of them targets in day, that before increase from 6% of liquid waste and 21% of solid waste, where we be collected in the city and disposed of. So let our number go to at least 60% for all 2. And from the cleaner zone competition to the enforcement, the sanitation patrol, we're going to be seeing on television, the community engagement, where we're going to go see where we put them sticker in our house, say clean up, in 3 days we come back. To the enforcement we see, we begin to get cases, then they go into court, and everybody knows say, when they challenge you 1, 2, 3, them, behavior change. Not for talk of one of the most fundamental parts of that waste collection system, where the tricycles, where we sweep the streets, but also they collect household dirty. So if today we reach a point where we can proudly say other cities like the sub-region take notice of the improvement in sanitation in Freetown, to the point where they begin to study tour for can't see where to be done. If we don't reach a point now where as the mayor of the city, I don't see and witness the reverse of those gains. I feel saying I'm in duty and I'm in obligation for I engage Freetonians and explain to Una. Because when I will ask Una say, why? What's happening? We will not go far. Street trading is here for the under control. We will not even get this regular pushback. If all this really happen, and now it not happen, Una go must ask Una say why. So as an elected representative, I feel say this moment and a moment, but for take a little while for giving us some of the issues we make when I see the regression when we see so. So I will keep sharp and smart, go over things point by point. Then in the midst of we get counselors, we immediately talk as the head of the institution, but they still get their own challenges, whether or not because of their role as the chair of a specific committee inside council, or not whether or not because of their role within their ward. So when we don't talk done, I will open the floor and allow a few of the councillors then for add their own voice. At the heart of this, make it very clear. Freetonians then vote for Yvonne Aki-Sawyerr as mayor and for 48 councillors for serving at their wards. We commitment to service, it undeterred, it not change, it total. But if we not see work not happen like how I expect them to happen, then I need to explain to now why. Not to any other reason. We did here for serving, and we need to make sure say we are aware when things are not go right. So with that, make a start. The first thing, and I will really focus on sanitation, because as I say, if we sick, if the place not clean, sick they increase. Yesterday, I've been doing a bearing ground. Oh, that's another thing that please me heart, make a glad. I did a bearing ground in a Secular Road Cemetery by Macaulay Street. We started with the build. The first of we planned construction of cemetery walls, because we always say that bearing ground and they all manage for end up. But we know what end up there prematurely. And that makes sanitation so important. Because we know say malaria a major killer in the city here for under 5s and even for we the adults then. So we don't want to go, we glad is we build the very ground wall then, but we don't want to go there ahead of time. So let me talk about the challenges where they make the city, not feel by the city, where it been for be, where it been be by the start of this year, where it make the mayor of Monrovia and the mayor of Canifig, they are two. Not only them, even with we get conversation with the mayor of Connacht, with the trip not happen yet, but we don't be highlighted, we don't be noticed. So if we don't be noticed, we know that because work has been done. And one of the things I decide for do, I make sure say I bring this Transform Freetown 2-year reports. You know, when you talk about what you do, if thankfully you will get evidence. So anybody with all these documents, not to words daily alone. Now words, photographic evidence, and specific locations. So if we talk say something happened and you not believe, just have a look. Take a trip. Go outside we say, and you see them for yourself. So let me start. Waiting at the first thing way don't make a big difference to the way how Freetown fever. The number one thing, now waiting we call public space cleaning. That now when we sweep the streets them, over 110 streets. We remember, just imagine, if streets not sweep, day in, day out. If you get your hose, you not sweep your hose for 1 week, 1 month, how you hose go fever? We all know. So if you did, you not sweep your streets, how your streets go fever? It go dirty. We bring into place a system. We only run from June 2020 through to this June 2021. But we begin in 2019 with the woman that sweep. So the concept of sweeping the streets, now something we only do from within the first 1 year, we will not get that system in. After 2019, we changed from woman them to the youth groups. And we pay the youth groups and we, FCC, from October 2020 until we begin to forget this issue of non-payment from the chief administrator in June 2021. As we sit today, the youth groups then, the tricycle groups then, where some man will sit in the morning, early morning, then set na motaman like we, then set na Freetonian, some na mama, some na papa, some na youth man, where you know, in there will sit still, but they all get responsibility. And they all get the right for be paid. If we sit on here, it's now the end of September, and people that not be paid for August. Tell me true. You expect say the work will go on how it will go? It not will go on how it will go. So that's now one of the major reasons why I see the dirty in the streets. But it not done day, because the question of the tricycles, and I not go into all of the arguments where we don't hear back and forth, because I'm absolutely certain. In fact, today, I get a document on the table where it's sent to me for the payment of the August, where I write say money no day and documents no day. So I don't write back a 1 page for explain all inside the money day. Because as recently as last week, We devolve money for sanitation. We government give every council. So let them begin and say when we count FCC, then we all council, we all entitled. Now we write as the implementers of the national government, we are partners in development. We are not enemies. So not for saying pride on something for say we devolve money. Devolve money for the second and the third quarter come. And that money they include a sanitation element. And that money they not only in there, but we as council get money. I don't really call council all the bands, but I can assure you say the money they. Not only that, this building, we get tenants when you move in this week. And that tenant in deposits, they come on Friday. So I write back. I say I'm very confused. Look all this final outline. And you go tell me say money no be. Report? Look the report. So it seems to me that we just keep on for push this issue for ensure say these young people, these youth, these hard-working Freetonians not be paid. And it's not just the pain of seeing people breaking their backs for work for the all for the safety, neither the issue. Fundamentally, at the end of the day, if you prevent one of the key elements of recitation work stream, you will not say we will end up with a dirty city. Who that wants a dirty city? Who that wants for left Freeton dirty? Why we go want for left Freeton dirty? And yeah, we all day. No matter who's waiting at you view, waiting at you issue. If malaria meets you, if mosquito bites you, they ask us how you come out. Once you lay near that bet say you go get some, that malaria will fall. Typhoid, dysentery, we begin them all day at risk. So that's not one issue. The other issue, when you really affect the way Freetown look today, now the fact say the very tricycles that were on the road, certain things that need to be done for make a tricycle keep on working. You get your motorcar, you know say if your motorcar you run a bad road, you get for go in a garage. And we did talk say if anybody then phone they on and turn it off, please do so. Or put them on silent. Thank you. As I say, you when you run a bad road, you know say you motorcar go and bog. Well, not same way so with the tricycles. So the tricycle then repair, I want to talk about them in two ways. The one side, I want to talk about the dump site management. Anybody will tap me up on me. Either the Kingdom or the KC. Go see say in the last 24 hours, the dirty begin come on our road. Now I want to remind everybody say, when they talk about the council, they talk about the political wing, they talk about the administration. And recently, everybody don't hear this cry. The mayor they do their work, the mayor they do the administrator work. Well, I believe say the administration they work. Now for sure say we not reach a point where the dirty they reach that street. If that didn't happen, you get for really question why. Me know personally, because I take a big interest in these matters. So I know say right now, the Kisi dump site, when you enter the dump site, you meet one big pool of water. Not a new issue for me. From a big mayor that talk to the battle every rainy season. We not get sufficient drainage because again, a responsibility of the administration. Nothing just say we not get illegal squatters. All beside the drain for day, we get illegal squatters. I don't work very hard with those we want to walk because I want to say, without any of the shadow of doubt, we within our council, we in our family. When I talk about challenges, you don't mean to say we're not enemy now. I just talk the plain truth. Because you get staff for this council. We're so dedicated. But at the end of the day, staff we day on a dump site, no matter the level of dedication, you're not able to move things then on your own. And a daily block day. So we get this challenge of the dump sites. So with the dump sites, we see say with tricycles then. Imagine you think of a tricycle, it go over that poto. It well, often. So right now we get a number of the tricycles then we need repair. But the youth groups then, we will support them for do something we call Osusu. They get the Osusu fund. Every month they put money inside the Osusu fund. That Osusu fund don't grow now. And we will tell them say as council, let me hold on for them. So that we go help them for manage them and buy the spare parts then. Well, Tem don't come for buying the spare parts there now. And now Joe don't come for the tricycles and getting the money for the spare parts there. Not a problem that one day. Person don't save me money every month. Now we say, give me money, let I go buy the spare parts. Let repair my vehicle. No problem. So these, just look how the thing they compound. I want to now understand the background and understand the situation. Let me move on now. Anything after time, you must get expansion or you get replacement. So with this tricycle scheme where we really see the need. And for let us tell you now, colleagues in other countries, other mayors, they don't buy this tricycle idea because they don't see how effective it be. And also donor partners, they don't see, say the tricycle, it do dual purpose. We're very important for a city like the city. It not only ensures the city clean, but it provide livelihood. It provide work opportunity. It give us in future, and that's what we want for Freetonians. So if we don't see this, and we don't get organizations like the MMC, we need it on the leadership board of that organization. MMC stands for Mayors Migration Council. Now with 10 mayors then, from around the world we did it. Among my colleagues then, that council day, that board day, you get the mayor of Los Angeles, you get the mayor of Montreal, you get the mayor of Amman in Jordan, you get the mayor of Kampala. Now big privilege for let us sit on that board. And with that privilege also come access to being able to tap into the resources of that organization. And you get for doing competitively. So last year, we applied. We set a program because, you know your name, Mayors Migration Council. We know what's in a temple run, that is Freetonia, that is Salon. So man, if they get opportunity for ride tricycle, for do business, they don't remember temple run. So now because of that under this Mayors Migration Council, we apply for money for 40 more tricycles, for giddy bikes, tricycles, but also for training the guys. And like how we always do. Every tricycle operator when they work on the council will come through either the EU or the IOM project. Not to just say, yeah, take your tricycle, go. It come with training. It come with support. They set up as organizations, as cooperatives. They have legal entity. They get bank accounts. Then they operate. To the point where somebody actually buy a second tricycle. Because of that investment, then they work hard. And because they work hard, then they able to make opportunity for the next man. So we applied for this funding. And to God be all the glory. We get them. Then disperse the money, $174,000. Then disperse them in December 2020. Family, if I tell you I say now, as I sit here, September 2021, we don't get a single tricycle from that money days. We don't go through a procurement process. We don't take over 9 months. Family, they wanna ask me why. Because me said they ask me why. And they ask me the question. Because that means to say 40 more tricycles, 260 more young people before they work now. More streets than before be cleaned. More households before they get their waste collected. For money where we raise and put inside FCC. You know, a lot of waiting don't happen over the last few months. The conversations on the social media. People don't only say, well, I can say specifically, the chief administrator, don't they say, money wait for kind of council, merely make them put an NGO. I don't explain times without number. Say they count the organizations where they put an NGO, not because not in policy. Something like the MMC get flexibility in their policy. You get a choice. You can either work through an NGO or you can work through your city institution. Now they give you a choice. I choose for work through the city institution. And now, 9 months later, from where we receive the money, I don't see the impact. And we as Freetonians, they feel the impact. Because waiting before they get, the service waiting before they get, you know they get them. So that just gives you some flavor of some of the challenges we will talk about in respect of the tricycles. So make a move now to something related to the tricycles, and that's the famous transfer stations. Transfer station, the name go give them the name go the ring, the yes go the ring. For the number of times that they call their name transfer station. But some man still not know waiting at this transfer station. I think this year it triggered me yesterday because, as I say, I go Macaulay Street for this cemetery burying ground, the burying ground wall. And of course, one of the transfer stations, and they now Macaulay Streets. If I say I feel pain, I think I underestimate her. I'm not able to express how I feel. The transfer stations, now a novel idea. Not only first come up with the idea of a transfer station, but the way how we design and our own force. Then use them in Kigali, Rwanda, when they're one of the cleanest cities in Africa. Then use them all over the place. Not very simple concepts. The concept, and we say we adapt them for we own situation. The concept is that you localize the waste collection. So we take Freetown. Freetown gets 48 wards. We group the wards then into blocks. We say every 6th ward, now one block 1 to block 8. And then we make sure say we waste collection so that we will get proper monitoring. And that mentioned quickly on this one. We believe in monitoring. We believe in monitoring, transparency, and accountability. The one way they sweep the streets, every tricycle where they sweep the streets, they get to put out the monitor on. My phone, I get one group na my phone where I see live, morning, all day, and they get it uploads the photos. Where the monitor will show, then they call them in group, Leone agency, whatever your group is called. Yadoti, I see them. Me said something, I will add the voice. I'm waiting to see the clean version. So it's real time. Reports are made daily. We get an app. Not to say you just do them now. You get form on the phone where you monitor the field so that we get automatic upload. Because if you not do your work 3 times, and 3 times, you not do your work 3 times in a month, then they cut you money. So we have accountability in the process, not a free for all, and it's something that I follow. So the transfer stations, whose side in Kanye side is here? Well, in Kanye side is here because you get a block system where for the blocks then we want to ensure say we really are able to improve the efficiency. So just say, for example, if this table here now 1 block, then I will take Councillor Dabo, say in a tricycle guy. It collects dirty from all of our host them. But before, when he collects, when he tries to don't full up, Councillor Dabo get for go down on the ground floor, for go empty in tricycle. Before he go come, he begin collect from the next person. So you imagine say, by the time he don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, he don't reach Mr. Kamara, in tricycle don't full, he don't get to go all the way down. Sometimes he go take a 1 hour. He go meet up traffic, he go burn in fuel, he go take a 1 hour for come back. So by the time the day is done, sometimes he go just reach to Councillor them that where he could only go and come. So the idea of the transfer station, we say, okay, instead of Councillor Dabo, they go all the way down the ground floor, like Isi Bome or Kintan Bome. We build something at this corner inside this block. So when they don't collect to Mr. Kamara, he run quick, he go empty. He come back, he begin collect to Councillor Agnes. He run quick, he go empty. By the time the day done, he don't finish with everybody in the household. Now all the households in the area, because he don't waste that time for the go that distance. And not only he don't waste the time, from a perspective of
good afternoon, colleagues all. This is the HR.
So we get public service announcements. I'll just be quiet for minutes.
We want to make a few announcements which we think is very vital for our peaceful coexistence within the building.
I will continue.
It is unfortunate that we have been inundated with incidents of theft
Okay, let's continue. We go see if I can drown them out. So as I've been saying, so the idea of a transfer station now for bring the waste collection closer to the block. So we get 6 of them transfer stations there. The block we not get, one of the block that we not get, now the one beside Kington Vomit Day. But we will do something similar day in the dump site. Then the other block we not get, now the block beside Aberdeen Day. And that one in been simply an issue of we not be able to fend land. We now whole other issue for council. But that notwithstanding, we get a transfer station not lonely by Juba Bridge. So in the service that one day. And then we also obviously the next block along the service that Aberdeen block we not get. So that's not the transfer station. And the design, the development, now something we all do now. This report we are shown us so, now the 2-year report. But there was a 1-year report. And there was a launch of Transform Freetown. And the concept of the transfer station has been mentioned from the very first day. So again, as I say with the tricycles, I don't bother for go back and forth, would I say, would I not say, because the fact is the fact. The transfer station documents, now the transfer station project, now a donor-funded, NGO implemented project. On the 12th of July, first on the 26th of March 2020, all the documents related to that project were provided to the CA, and we get the email evidence of that. On the 12th of July this year, Naya, the head of DFID, Sidon, Usai Councillor Sidon So. Naya, the Minister of Planning Sidon, Usai Councillor Sidon So. A number of the councillors in this room were present at that meeting. Why was that meeting called? That meeting was called in order to ensure that we get every opportunity for let anybody will say, this donor project here, I don't understand, I don't know, I don't see documents, whatever you question, they get the opportunity. These 2 very, very important people sit down at this council for 2 hours. And all the information needed was conveyed. And additional documents will be requested were provided. So, as with the payment of the tricycle groups, I also sit on here and I ask research saying, why money of this magnitude for a council, for a country with donor dependence? How is it that we can say we could left them place a day for fall into state of disrepair? As I talk to Una now, some of them, I can photos, and after this, we gonna share them with Una. Door don't be taken out, toilet don't be removed, lights don't be removed. This is taxpayers' money. So as I start to say I was heartbroken for look at myself, for seagrass degrading, now an understatement. But the heartbreak, not just because of waiting I see, now because of waiting in mean to sanitation in the city. So as I've been given the analogy, if Councillor Dabo no need for go all the way to the ground floor for come up, he could able for make sure say nobody will be like now this room here in dirty will left na house. If the tricycles there able for make use of the transfer stations within at the block, then we know we'll get person because na true complaint. We go say, hey, I call no tricycle no come. But I don't explain to now tricycle, we get money for more. The tricycles they not buy. We get for repair tricycles, the repair money not accessible. We get the tricycles themselves, we not be paid. We if they really paid set, they own repair will happen today, tomorrow. They will say, well, I take waiting and pay me. La do am, la able for collect from more households. So I hope say una able, because as I say, this meeting, now for make an update Freetonians, Leone not feel to say, may or just set in yayo, may or foliano, may or say no one walk. No, not to that at all. May or continue for be committed for do the work. But may or need for Leone understand, waiting at the challenges with you on the ground. So we move on from the transfer stations, and just for sake, beside we day on that one day, nowhere. Nowhere. We don't go through this, we don't go to press, we don't go to television, we don't do all. Where are we? Nowhere. Sanitation Committee Chairman there, as I say, when we talked on, then we'll add a few words. I want to bring another important element of the sanitation. I touched on that before. When I talk about the dump site management, I mentioned the fact, say, now Kisi, we get a big hole where the water can settle. If me and the political head, and we get an administration head, and then they talk constantly saying, Mayor don't take the work, and you don't take the work of the staff. I want to ask a rhetorical question. Who does supposed to look at dump sites and make sure say we not end up with all the dirty in the streets? If the person not do it, Mayor will sit down, you not talk, you not look, you make like you don't see. I can't. Because when I come on as when I hosted early morning on the 7th of March 2018, when I say when I vote for me. So since when I do that, I own Tona for doing the job. So I will do my job. But that dump sites, for manager, we take them. We look and we say, for pay for bulldozer, front-end loader, for they go push, because you have to push the dirty, for compactor, we push. Part of the management, we will spend something like 12 to 15 million for day for hire front-end loader, for hire bulldozer. It's not sustainable. We apply to the Japanese government. They get a scheme where their own local councils, they get vehicles that way, they're not used. And you know, I remember say at some point, their vehicle that they been fasting at ports for months. Shows not been that talking. Well, guess what? They're not going to report. But guess where they did now? They're fasting at works yard. No paperwork done for licensing. No paperwork done for getting an operator for them. So we don't move from one place to the next. And we don't move at all. Because for as long as they're not licensed, for as long as they're not an operator, that means to say they're not in work. And if we will get them vehicles and they operate, we will get this kind of problem? When we will see the dirty, the can on the street? No. But who that's supposed to do that action? So Freetonians, I just want for make una appreciate and understand. We want for work for una. But not to me to go write that document. I will talk say let the document be written. I will call. I will come on radio. I will come and go press conference. I will talk am. But if I talk there, I know we not take an action. Just know say there's nothing more I can do. If I can write letter of complaint, I don't need write. I get one whole folder of letter. But we not see action. We of course get this commission of inquiry. We can have for 3.5 weeks. And we wait for the report. This is not to prejudice the report. This press conference, not to prejudice the report at all. This is the update Freetonians on waiting to go on in city today. So, we move on. And I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to make this fast. Another thing we're very important. I told them I say I want for focus on sanitation. Because I think we come on to we all. Some man, they know pension. School, business, something to their interest, something like grand begin. Some person, they know the go to market knows their interest. But sanitation, now we all interest. Because the filthiness or the cleanliness of the city, they affect we all. So now make an aim and focus on. Not to say we don't get problems elsewhere. I just choose. Say, let I just hone in on this one area. Because it's so visible. And you know, it's so interesting because we get people that we don't make an business now for Snap, the dirty that is sitting and putting on Facebook, then say mayor not the work, mayor for resign. So I mean, I think I'm all like fun. As they can say that the game, when I play the game, no wahala. Once the residents they know the truth. So here we go. The other thing where they actually affect the public space cleaning. Now what do we call with fleet? So with public space cleaning, it happens in two ways. We get the tricycles where we pay. Then we get council-owned fleet. That are waiting at council-owned vehicles where we set the drive, where we own drivers and the drive. And we will get 7 of them, where there have been 3 where I inherit, the 4 where government of Salon will give to the Chinese, or the Chinese give to the government of Salon in 2019. And then now, we don't add 2 more, or 4 more, when I want them from Russia. We make them 11. Then we get tricycles where we self get through the IOM, the CRS project. Now being 7,
Yes,
7. So 7 tricycles and 11 trucks. Okay? 7 tricycles, 11 trucks. So I want the Freetonians know, waiting there one day I do, their main focus now in markets. So whether now Bombay Street Market, Lumley Market, Black Tank Market, Congo Market, the markets. The trucks then job, then he puts the skip, or if now sideway they don't use skip, then they go every morning, they collect the dirty from the markets. The council-owned tricycles then get their own routes, where they set the go and collect dirty and empty the street bins. It got interesting enough for no. Say of their 11 vehicles and 7 tricycles, only 3 operational right now. Only 3 vehicles operational right now. And the 3 vehicles, they off the other vehicles, then they off their road because they say, axle problem, tire problem, this problem, that problem, long and short of it, dirty left na street. And you will say, well, Mayor, not only your job for make sure say the vehicles and they operate. Yes, of course. Now my job for giving instructions for let waiting for be done. But Mayor, not only implementer in the council, contrary to what anybody go and make anybody else believe. One particular thing we will see, we could be such a great innovation for make, and I believe say that come on team, not a rocket science, because the people that we discuss with they give me examples of other side them where they provide this service inside this Freetonians. And that now what they call fleet management. When your number of vehicles then they begin grow, sometimes it outgrow the institution. Because institution, not all institution get a specialization for say, I go able for monitor the repairs, get the spare parts, make sure say the fuel there. So you get what they call fleet management operators. When you go outsource and they go come and say, then go look after the fleet, you pay them so. Some months ago, I think we probably reached about 5 months now. Because I only talk say we need to do this. We not get enough capacity in the council. Because when I came to council, there were 3 vehicles. We don't now go to 11 plus 7. So and we see the thing to grow. And we don't get the one that from Japan, we not get license. We another 3 vehicles, make them 14. So you see, we get 1 person when the mechanic. So wait to make we're not able to take on board this fleet management system, even though we don't pass them as a resolution of the council. Why? We not go take on a system. We will make the council vehicles that operate efficiently, so that we not go day in a situation where of 11 vehicles and 7 tricycles, only 3 day on the road. And let we not forget the issue of the dump site. For as long as the dump site they in a terrible state, not only the external tricycle groups them could be affected, but we said your own vehicles. And we recently get a letter of complaints from some of the private operators where they collect dirty, where they use the dump site. They complain about the state of the dump site. Who that for manage the dump site? Who that responsible? Who that in job there one day? My job, the job of the council, me and the councillors, now for say X, Y, Z for be done. But the doing of them require the administration. Moving on swiftly. Family them, as I say, our update week. Let me know what will happen. And we focus on sanitation. I know say the grass where they grow along the streets, now another breeding ground for mosquito. If you go na Jomo Kenyatta Road now, if you go na Spur Road now, if you go na Baibure now, Baibure Road, go by Orogo Bridge. Let you see how grass they grow out of control. Wait till it take for the council cut that grass. Wait till it take. We don't do them. Why it not be done? I don't follow up. This morning, finally, document reached on the table where I don't approve, where I don't call down to finance for say, una not delay again. But why I bring them up? Even if the grass be cut tomorrow, we don't get for see we city in this state here for the past 2 months. You right? When you then at your horse, you know say when you want to make that horse look change. Not so some big thing that you can eat for do you know. You just tidy up that external environment, and I saw with the city. They can say city mother. Now that they can call me. Then they call the previous mayor city father. I don't mind the expression at all, I like myself. Because mama within a house, you know how they take pride in a home. And that's how I feel about the city. Now city I want to take pride in. So when I see the grass, they grow. And I know say, now we work for them. And yet, in order to be done, in spite of repeated requests, I find them painful. And we also go talk about the Berengrondem, speaking of grass. Yesterday I go on circular road Berengrondem, as I don't say, because we get this wall where we build. One of many walls, because we get 11 Berengrond, and one makes sure that every Berengrond is secure. And that's how we hope. I did up the bypass road. I look down into the Berengrond. You know when you say grave and the height of the grass, it passed 6 foot. Totally overgrown. And that's not just secondary Berengrond. Now all the Berengrond. We don't pass resolution for the Berengrond be clean. Me don't sign check for the Berengrond from July. Why the Berengrond grass knockouts? Why the Berengrond grass knockouts? Who that get that responsibility? Now mayor? Now me for go cut the grass, of course not. I talk I just like joke. Me no say no to me. But I know see when something not they go right. Person go say, well now that's so and so department. But now that make you administrator. Because performance management now a key part of your role in accordance with the Local Government Act. So Freetonians again, I want to know say we don't approve for Lady Berengrond because of the still that for not create. It is obvious we all the end up na Berengrond, we get for show the dead respect. We get for show the respect. But I want the Freetonians know say the reason why the Berengrond are not caught, not because the administration not caught the Berengrond. Not because money not there, not because council not interested, not because council not approve, but because a task which was given not be done, along with so many others. So let us move now to one of the things that we from being mayor, in fact, from what the campaign for being mayor, one group of people then they were Freetonians and love to talk about, especially the older generation. Sanitary inspector, where have been small? The sanitary inspector, they can't compound. Then we spray them with carbolic or carbide, you know those one. Sanitary inspectors. We said there to be sanitary inspectors. We call them now public health aides. And I can assure and say, now people that way they play a valuable role in this council. But again, because of a lack of proper performance management, proper salary structure, proper human resource organization, the majority of them, they as casual. And we know, say, according to NACIT, casual not exist anymore. Anybody when they work for you, supposed for get minimum wage, and they're supposed for get you to pay their NACIT. We don't talk this, audit don't raise this, it's still they go on. Those important people, they go be motivated? No. Then they ask, say, let them get ID card. When they go to people compound, for go enforce, how they go do them? How difficult is it for them to get an ID card? When we don't pass this as resolution of council, and yet it's not being done. And so I move on. I want to move a little bit into the area of street trading enforcement. Freetonians remember, say we come, we say so many streets then, go be no street trading. We team up with the military police. We team up with the traders marshals. We begin to patrols. All of these things, which we all met police. All of these things need management. They need fuel for vehicles. They really need for you get continuity of action, but they need resource. I will come back to the property rate on the resource, but I want to quickly jump to one more thing before I touch that side. When a common site will become more and more common in our city. That's the way we see people with building materials, whether they do some kind of construction work on main road, then you see the building materials all like the street, like the pavement. I call relevant staff then. I say, waiting at the bylaw concerning this. Say we get bylaw. I say, okay, waiting at the policy. Well, people they can't pay. Well, then they pay waiting. How much they pay? What's that they pay? I don't get clear answer. No, so I set one of the people in this room here. Well, give the assignments. Well, I say, work with the department. We need a policy. No sign of the world when we don't tap. Where I see possible you do building work. You cement, you gravel, you sand, you put all on the pavement. Who say next it go? Inside the gutter. When you go inside the gutter, wait till it cause flooding. When the flooding happen, who then they call? FCC. Not only by the flooding, but even for the fact that what capacity place day. Even just the look of them. I said, let we do a policy. Let people then can apply. You get so many where there's a will, there's a way. People then they build that tight corner. Then they fend way for do how you don't fend the way for build on the tight corner? Fend the way for putting materials at the same tight corner. Keep her off the streets. Or if it's going to be on the streets, let we get a way where it will be mutually acceptable. No policy. January, I asked for them to do public service announcements about this issue because it's really the increase. Because it seems like, for say, we don't get to train at the city, for let people then they do rehabilitation of old buildings. So you need to say more and more work can happen on the main streets, not on new sites. Now you take an old street, knock it down, you put up. So that's really affect the streets. No policy. As I say, Freetonians, I don't talk halting. It's not possible for me to talk halting. I just want to give a flavor of waiting at the challenges. Because if dog die, and left na street, he likely say vehicle no dey for pick up that dog. He likely say fuel no dey for put inside the vehicle. And that brings me to an important point when at the issue of the property rates. Some man can tell me, say, Mayor, you know how your problem starts? When you try to automate that system. When you say you the close leakage, let people not pay that arm again, let them pay in a bank. Mayor, all the problem again. And maybe they're right. Because certainly, the kind of a pressure where we don't see that is council, like how I explain all that today to now, when we not really experienced that before, I guess maybe there's a link. But why do I bring them up? I bring them up because part of the challenge we get, and they're not sufficient for some of the tricycles anymore. Because as I say, I just don't go through and document and demonstrate so we get enough money for paying the staff, pay the tricycles, and still able for do with other work them at this point in time. Wait till we not get enough money for. Now wait till we promise Freetonians and say we will do in addition. So if we say we want for build markets, right now when we first market they're under construction. 50% of that money they come from Bloomberg Philanthropies, an outside donor. 50% of that money come from council. If property rates not paid, that wall will be built. Na Kisi Road Bank, Circular Road Bank ground. We for build na Kisi Road. We for build na Ascension Town. We for build na Cape Town. But if the money not come, and waiting on a challenge for let the money come. Well, when we don't send out demand notice, we don't get all this talk. Then take the walk. We get what we call enforcement. We will not agree with the CJ's office for letting do training, for letting do it properly in accordance with the law, even set a working group up, for letting able for even get a dedicated court, for letting able for move on their issues. Council don't ever go back for follow up, for letting take advantage of that offer of help. No. Not only that, when it can now to the people that already make inquiries and say, I don't get me poverty meet demand note because again, we don't say people that may left out because that was part of the system. We get what we call this coming, we keep the list. We keep to that database. We forget teams then. January, and inside this room we sit down. We set targets, we do strategy, we put on a flip chart. All waiting, everybody go do department by department. How we going to report month by month. What did happen to all of them plans they made? They were squashed. They were killed. And there's been no reporting. In fact, there's been no management meeting since February in my presence. I right ask. I say, since there seems to be this challenge, I start telling people, let there be a management meeting. I requested a management meeting 2 weeks ago. It was ignored. I say again, when you say the commission don't come, they don't hold 3.5 weeks there, and I thank them for their time. They say the stated objective, now for make peace, and the council. My stated objective, me own stated objective, now for make sure Freetonians can get the service where they deserve. For make sure say the city run in the manner in which it will run. I don't outline just a handful, and as shown I say, this is just a handful of waiting not only happen. We make daylight today, we sitting, not fever how it will say fever in January of this year, or even in April of this year. From June, now we see the issue of no payments and all the follow-up. I guess but from January, February, we begin getting judged on the property rates. When means say at this point in time, we get target to reset for with property generation. We say we for day by now, we day at under 25%. And at September I don't know so. So I want to close my own part with two things. One, I want to thank Freetonians for una belief in me and in the council, the councillors we're going to vote for. All 48 of we. All of them, because me plus them make 49, but me no councillor. I want to thank una. I want to tell una say, we're not tired for work for that. In spite of the challenges, I not talk about the RMFA, money where we not get, where now we allocation, where instead SRA, then we go dig the road and put them on the side of the road. I don't talk for all that. I don't talk about the 3 or 4 letters where I don't write to EDSA about the fact that they dig pole, then they dirty, then they left on the side. It must be their contractors, but they left for monitor them contractors. I don't talk about all the other things then, because it's in them too many. But I want to close by saying, governance, central and local, now a combined effort. We did here for self. I want to assure everybody say, I continue for be dedicated to work for UNA and for DUAM in collaboration with the central government. We're not an island. Freetown City Council not an island. We're not part of a governance structure. And I want to use this opportunity for saying, think challenges and where I don't highlight. All of these issues where they go on at this council, we make something, one thing I highlight today, sanitation. We make the city dirty, like how it is dirty. You know dirty, in spite of, these guys are still sweeping, eh? The tricycles they still be sweeping even though they're not being paid. Out of a sense of dedication and commitment. But because of the challenges of the tricycles, because of the challenges of the transfer stations, because of the challenges of the dump site, then you work sub-optimally. How the city for be, it will be much more so than that. Grass they grow unabated, uncontrolled, on the streets, in the cemeteries. It takes the shine away from the city. We want for let the shine come back into the city. Freetonians, this is my update on these issues. I know we'll ever put a mic down when I speak to the people of Freetown without me closing remark way. Una know I'm also. Two things. Now it's in. Una know? What I get from me? Wait to get from me. No if dirty in the streets. No if dirty in the streets. In spite of all waiting, I don't talk. Make sure say you when you listen to me, you register with a waste provider. And number 2, make sure say you pay your property rates, your business license, and your local tax. If you not get your property rate, no matter waiting, if you can at this council, if you go to the ground floor, anybody turn you back or forth, tell you say system there, mayor's office is on the 13th floor, please come to me. And they walk you down to the ground floor. Because we really need to ensure say we join on and work together for the Freetown transform. This is not only dream, now we dream. When it go well for it all. Let God bless you. Thank you.